It's freezing cold in Chicago, so I thought it would be fun to make it snow. So stick around. Hello, colorists. Welcome to PencilStash, a weekly show all about coloring. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing to get all the new content, and be sure to hit that like button if you're enjoying my videos. Hey colorists, with us officially entering December, the holiday season should be in full swing. Everywhere around you, in stores, in the weather, maybe you've decorated your homes already, and I thought it would be fun to pull out a romantic country coloring book and color a Christmas page. And I've even developed a little personal challenge for myself. I don't know if you've noticed, but I do like to use a lot of blues when I'm coloring. And this is both a good thing and sometimes a bad thing, especially when I overuse it on holiday pages, like I have a tendency to do. So I'm challenging myself today. No blue whatsoever. In fact, I don't even trust myself, so I'm going to put my whole tray of blue pencils way over here just to keep them out of reach. So today I'm going to be focusing on a very traditional, simple holiday color scheme. Some greens, reds, and golds, which is actually my personal favorite Christmas color scheme. A lot of my home decorations are those colors. I think it'll be really nice and classic. And as I take you through this page, a lot of the coloring portion is just going to actually be the foundational layer of the page, as the real magic is going to come at the end, where we will cover it up with some snow. Now, starting us off, I want this post box to really be the star of the show. So I've decided that it will be red. And it will be one of the very few objects on the page that will be red, as I don't want it to compete with anything else. But I don't want the whole thing to be red. That would be kind of boring, kind of unrealistic too. So I'm going to make these plaque portions in gold, as well as this kind of top piece, to make it feel more like a metal component of the box. And my favorite colors to create gold are Prismacolor Cream, Crayola's Harvest Gold, Prismacolor Bronze, and Prismacolor Metallic Gold. Now I use these in combination with each other to create kind of a metallic effect. The cream in the highlighted spots, and metallic gold to scuff it up or tarnish it a bit. When that's in a good place, I'm going to move on to the red of the post box. And I want it to read as red, but I don't want it to just be one color. So I've taken a few, and unfortunately, Prismacolor doesn't have a huge, wide range of reds. They're kind of very similar to one another. Some are kind of more pink or some orange than others. So I'm going to go back to a technique that I call bad camouflage, which means that I'm just going to splotch my different reds onto the surface, holding back my darkest shade until I have the whole surface covered. And it's going to look a little bit ridiculous, but don't be deterred by that. Just go for it. Still put, those lightest colors in the areas where you think it would be highlighted. Put your darkest colors in the shade spots, all that good stuff. But don't worry about it, kind of being too uniform, because we're going to fix that in just a minute. Because when that's done, I'll take my Prismacolor colorless blender to bring these colors together to create something more harmonious. Now I'll take my sepia, which is a dark brown, and I'm going to go back in and I'm going to put those darkest shades onto it. Now I like doing this step after I blend rather than before, as I feel that it blends it out a little bit too much otherwise. It just kind of dulls that color a bit. And I want the shading to stand out and stay nice and true and dark. And this post box is huge and has a bunch of overhangs and angles, so do your best to shade the areas where you think it would be needed. All right, she's looking good. So that's it on the reds for the most part. So I'm going to grab some of my greens and begin to color this garland up here on top of the post box. And it might be tempting to just color these small little leaves, just one color and be done with it. But you'll see right now that I'm leaving a little bit of white space on each as a highlight, and then surrounding that with one green, and then going back in again with a darker green just to give it a bit of variation. Taking a bit of extra time to add in this detail will really pay off in the end, even in the small areas. Now I'll use those same greens on the Christmas tree over here, focusing my lightest on the areas that have an edge, and then working my way to the darker greens and even some browns towards the interior of the tree where it would be more dense. And to be fair and honest with myself, this is the only time over the whole page that I was truly tempted to pull out a blue. Now, I'm sure you guys have seen me do this before, but I don't feel that Prismacolor or Crayola have a dark enough green for my liking. So I usually layer in a navy blue into those greens to kind of give it that real nice, dark, rich depth of tone. But I thought that using that navy blue would kind of be cheating. So I resisted the urge, and you wouldn't have seen the navy at all. You know, it wouldn't have read as blue, but I would know it's there. You would know it's there. So got to keep to the challenge. Now on this Nutcracker, you'll notice that he's roughly the same height, the same shape as the Christmas tree over here. Now he's making really good symmetry on this page, and I cannot resist good symmetry. So to keep that balance, I'm going to focus those same green colors on him as well. Now if we'd colored him another color, it would have thrown off that symmetry and just looked a bit unbalanced. Plus, with my red, gold, and green color scheme in the works here, I didn't have that much choice since I kind of limited myself to a smaller color palette. But that does not mean that we can't make him super, super special. And we're even going to mirror kind of the brown pot at the bottom of the Christmas tree by making his pants and his boots brown too. Now, in past romantic country Christmas pages, I've colored the Nutcrackers very kind of military inspired. Lots of navy blue, reds, whites, and blacks, kind of very dress uniform like. But this Nutcracker that I've done in green is actually my favorite part of the finished page. Sometimes limiting or kind of challenging yourself to step away from your comfort zone can actually make you see the benefits of taking a very different approach. Onto the background. Now with everything in the foreground being very bright, kind of greens and reds, I wanted the background just to fade back a bit. So I went with a very neutral color, Prismacolor's Ginger Root, which will fit in nicely with my gold color scheme. And to me, it even has a slight hint of green in it, so it kind of ended up being perfect. And I accented it with gold for the trim, some browns for the bricks, and a few grays for the glass windows. Now for the street, I went with a few different grays from both the warm and the French ranges of my colors. And then I blended it out with a bit of baby oil on a Q-tip. So here's another challenge for myself. I have a little bit of coloring left to do on my page. And here's the tray that I've been keeping all of the colors that I've used so far. So I'm going to finish up the rest of my page using only these colors. I'm not allowed to pull any more. This will ensure that everything stays cohesive, keeps me on my color scheme, because I know the minute that I go to these girls' cute little jackets, I'm going to want to pull out some color that's going to throw the whole thing off, and I really don't want to do that. Plus, I think I can make this work. I have a good amount to work with here, so let's see what I can come up with. All right, here it is. The whole page is colored. But we are not done yet. Oh no. I want to add some snow to our page, and we'll do that with our Posca paint markers. Now, I saw this done on a completed page, and I have no idea what medium the colorist used, but it looked so, so good. It might have even been kind of a watered down paint. It kind of was opaque, and some areas were kind of see-through. It didn't look like Posca pens, but let's see what we can do with our Posca pens to see what kind of effect we can get with this. I think it'll work. Now, the first thing that I want to do is create a series of lines of snow where it would kind of collect on the edges of our post box. I kind of thought my small, fine-tipped Posca would do the trick, but this one is not cutting it. It's a bit too thin. So I'm going to switch to my big boy here, and I think this is my 2.5 millimeter tip, I believe. I'm also going to create some snow piles on the tree branches too, as though they've already collected here from maybe a previous snowfall. And we're just going to go kind of around our page, creating little collection spots like this one. Some piles, some big snowflakes, and a whole bunch of little ones. Now, this was a really fun exercise, creating piles of snow that weren't there before. Now, it's especially helpful to have an opaque medium here so that you can effectively cover up any colors that you've used or the black lines that the artist gave us and really sell the idea that there's snow sitting here. So again, I use the Posca pens. You can use, whatever medium you prefer, anything you think would maybe even work better. Like I was saying, maybe even a white paint. I think that would work really, really well. Now, the Posca pens are almost opaque, but some areas I did have to go over again once they dried, but not too much. And the only regret that I have is the background. I like how it looks colored, but when I went to add in my Posca little snowflakes, they weren't showing up very well on these light colors. So in hindsight, I would have chosen some darker ones, perhaps even kind of reversed the selection where I did the trim in that lighter ginger root color and then the wall itself in the darker bronze color. But oh well. I still really, really like this. It was still a really fun challenge. And speaking of challenges, I didn't use any blues, not a single one, so mission complete. If you enjoyed this video, give me a big thumbs up and subscribe if you're new. I have a ton more coloring tutorials, so check out the rest of my channel catalog for more great videos. I'll see you guys next week. Have a good one.